Let's talk about what brings you joy today. Joy is a deep sense of contentment and well being. We all have moments in our life that bring us deep sense of joy. And I want to clarify that joy is not the same as happiness because happiness can be fleeting. It can be a moment. It can be an external item, thing, person that makes you happy. But joy is definitely a deeper feeling. And joy is something that stays with you. Happiness can come and go based on achievements and external events. Joy persists from within. And joy is something that we can tap into even during life's difficult moments, even during life's inevitable challenges. So let's talk about what brings you joy. Let's talk about how we can cultivate more joy in our lives. And let's talk about the obstacles that come into our lives that might prevent us from feeling pure joy. Joy is a high vibrational state. So we want to make sure that we have plenty of it in our lives. We want to make sure that we're not just receiving and feeling joy every day, we're also spreading it. There was a video that I saw recently where this guy talks about how he was at an airport with his flight being delayed. And as he began to approach the counter to see if he could find a solution, he reached and immediately the woman at the counter looks at him and says, "Oh, sir, there's no chance of you flying out of here until that flight decides to tell us that it's ready to go." And so this guy had a conference that he was going to be speaking at, and he had to get to his destination because there were over 1,000 people waiting to hear him speak. And so he decided to infuse joy into this complicated, frustrating, difficult experience that he was in the middle of. And he walks up to the lady and he says that I believe that you are an incredible problem solver. And I think that this airline has hired you and they pay you good money to be a problem solver. That immediately puts the woman at ease, makes her smile, and makes her think about how good she is at problem solving. Now, this is not something he does out of a sense of manipulation, but he is genuinely talking about how bringing joy into people's lives can actually change the outcome of your frustrating experience completely. She looks at him with a smile and she asks him what the problem is. He says to her, I have over 1,000 people waiting for me to go and speak to them. And if I don't make it in time, I'm going to be letting down 1,000 people or more. I know that you can help me get there in your most creative problem-solving way. She looks at him, and just because of the joy that he brought her, she says, let me look into it, sir, and see what I can do. She gives him the number to call the airline, and she says, while I'm trying on my end, can you also try to call them and see if that works better for you? Now they're not complaining to each other or shutting down frustrating experiences, but they are instead both collectively working on bringing each other joy. Because now this flight crew person is trying to help him get on a plane. And when she does, she's going to feel joy and a sense of accomplishment from this experience. So she starts clicking away on her computer and he starts clicking away on his phone. And as they both try to get a solution, he gets an agent on the phone who's able to get him on a flight that gets him there about 30 minutes before the conference begins. He decides to take a chance and says yes. And as soon as he's about to book the flight crew person from the counter screams out and says, excuse me, sir, I think I have a solution for you. And she goes, I was able to find you a seat on a flight that's leaving in half an hour, and it will get you there 3 hours before. And this experience completely changed the outcome that many of us are familiar with in situations like this, right? It can be frustrating. It can be exhausting. It can be hard on both parties involved, right? So a simple infusion of joy changes everything, right? And I share this because when I heard this story, I was inspired to think differently about approaching problems like this. And the next time I'm stranded in a frustrating, difficult situation, I'm going to be thinking about how can I bring joy, not just to myself, but to someone else in the situation, right? Oftentimes, I find myself at airports looking at babies who are crying when our flights are delayed and just having conversations with them from afar, making faces, smiling at them, even sometimes playing peekaboo. And the kid immediately stops crying, gets distracted, and I get this beautiful smile from the mother nodding and saying thank you. She was exhausted and she couldn't think of that. So it's easy for us to get caught up in the frustration, but it's also easy to think about the joy that we can bring to each other in moments of crisis, right? And it only takes that pause or that mindset shift that will help us think differently. I did a fun exercise recently where I went around asking people what brings them joy. And I recorded them impromptu without giving them any time to prepare. And I made some fun reels out of it, which you will be seeing on my social media. I'll share the links in the show notes as well. So I think that if we really take a moment to pause, we all know the things that bring us joy. But the amazing thing that I noticed from this experiment, the social experiment that I did, asking people about what brings them joy, is that even before they shared with me what brought them joy, there was a smile on their face. And they were curious and they were excited and they were like, "Ooh, what brings me joy? Let me think about it. Oh, I know what brings me joy." And they were smiling. There were two people that even broke out into dance and song after they shared about how much they loved their grandkids or their jobs or something like that. And I was amazed to see how just a conversation about joy can bring us so much joy. Isn't that amazing? That we don't even have to be actually having that experience, but just talking about that experience can bring us so much joy. So, can we all just commit to finding joy in every day, creating joy every day, and looking for joy every day? Because when we think about it, whether we find it or not, just the idea of looking for it will make us feel joyful. So think about what brings you joy. Think about what stops you from focusing on joy, right? And what is your focus on all day, every day? Are you focused on the chase? Are you focused on hustling for what you need? Are you focused on creating this image of perfection? Are you focused on having a well behaved, well put together, pretty looking family so that others cannot judge you a certain way? Are you focused on perfection? Are you focused on giving and giving and giving? Are you focused on receiving? Where is your focus? Wherever your focus is will tell you what's stopping you from focusing on joy. So, my invitation to you today, my friends, my warriors, is that be full of joy whenever you can. Joy is an inside job. Don't look for outside happiness that is fleeting to bring you joy, because that tells you that you are looking for the wrong thing to bring you joy. Look for the deep inner feeling of joy. Every time you think about this question, ask the people in your life what brings them joy. Allow that to inspire you to then create more joy in your own life. And as you do that, I promise you, over time, you will stop looking for the worries, the sadness, the sorrow, the depression, the stress, and all of that stuff that brings us down. And you will become more and more used to finding joy. I'll tell you a few things that bring me joy, and I'd love to hear yours in the comments below. Here's mine. I wrote them down. All right, here we go. Are you ready? Talking to loved ones. I love when I do a video call with my cousins, with my mom, with my sister in India, or when my kids are away from me at college or working and they do a call for me and let me see them. That brings me so much joy. I love listening to my bird app. If you want to know which one, check the comments below in the show notes. I'll mention it and I'll put a link to it. But every time I hear these beautiful birds chirping in the morning, I turn on my app and I let it tell me the names of the birds and the pictures of the birds. And that just makes me feel so much more connected to these birds. I love watching hummingbirds come and drink from that hummingbird nectar that I have out in my backyard. I love, love, love finding signs and synchronicities that are pure magic. Just last week, I saw a car that had the license plate spend on it with the word spend on it. And this came to me at a time where I was kind of a little bit worried about the finances in our life. And the sign that came on and said spend was just what I needed to go ahead and receive some joy through money in my life. And when I'm feeling low and I get to connect with one of my spiritual friends, my spiritual sisters, and have them hear me out and vent out or give me some advice that I need, that brings me so much joy. And I'm so grateful for that spiritual family. I love creating things. I love baking. I love to draw. I love to color in my adult coloring book. I love to just be in community with like minded people. These are some of the things that bring me joy. Go ahead and tell me what brings you joy. And check out the reel on what brings you joy. And I also have a meditation that I created to help you see more joy in your own life. So I hope you will check those out from the show notes, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care. Be well.